If you happen to follow my content a lot, like my Twitter or my Twitch streams or even the Firing Range podcast that I do with a few other content creators, you've probably seen me talk about the Sixth Coyote quite a bit. Funny enough, I haven't really spoken about it on my YouTube channel here, not sure why, but this is the main exotic that I use, and a very common question I get is, why is it my main exotic? There's a lot of hunter exotics, like I'm sure you're probably already thinking about this. Like the common top tier ones are Stompees, Dragon Shadow, which mostly everyone runs, and then I want to say Wormhusk as a runner up to those. But even with those existing and being at the potency and popularity that they are, I still choose Sixth Coyote, and like I mentioned, a lot of people ask me why that is. Why the irregular decision? Am I just trying to be cool and do something different, or is it actually viable? And today I'm going to be talking about why I use the Sixth Coyote, and yes, I do think it's plenty viable, and I think it's relatively undervalued. So I started using the Sixth Coyote a while back when Top Tree Dawnblade first got its buff, and I was actually playing it a lot. I put a lot of time into it, and I got really used to the fact that I could have a dodge like, what is it, every 5 seconds, 2 dodges every 5 seconds. Yes, they don't have the same benefits as the hunter dodge, which I'm going to break down in this video, but when moving back to my hunter, I was not used to not having that instantaneous ability and directional control to disengage from fights back into cover like I had with the Warlock and I built up as a reflex. I still think this is valuable for mouse and keyboard players because you still of course have to turn and slide, which does take a little bit more time than an instantaneous dodge. However, I think it's more valuable for controller players because we can't turn instantly and slide instantly back into cover like you'll see a lot of top tier MNK players do. They will slide out and then be able to shoot and then instantly turn on a dime, slide back into cover, and play very evasively like that. On a controller, you lack that kind of maneuverability, so having these dodges allowed me to play a little bit more aggressively while not giving up my ability to disengage and get back into cover when the time called for it. Now, because I wanted this ability to disengage so frequently on my hunter, there was 2 obvious choices, either Dragon Shadow or Sixth Coyote. I think that Dragon Shadow is actually Sixth Coyote's biggest competition, simply because it lets you min-max in the same way, where you can have 5 mobility, and with the perk active, it's actually 10 mobility, allowing you to get your maximum fastest cooldown for your dodge and have it most frequently. The part I didn't like about Dragon Shadow was it wasn't as consistent as Sixth Coyote. I feel like sometimes in the Destiny community we have a habit of like looking at something on paper and assuming that we're gonna have a perfect scenario every single time, and I think it's a bad way to look at things, because with Dragon Shadow you're gonna have times where yes, you will die while the perk is active. And when that happens, you are reverted on respawn to 5 mobility or whatever your mobility value is, which is probably lower than 10, so it's not going to be the fastest dodge cooldown available. So you're going to have to wait longer for your dodge, and this will actually happen more times than you might think. Even though the dodge is great for disengaging, you are using it in combat, so there are times you will die without getting your dodge back from the Dragon Shadow. This led me to want to use Sixth Coyote because you can freely and carelessly use your dodge as an evasive maneuver whenever you please, and you won't have to worry about it because your second dodge is always on a passive gain while you have the first one charged. I mentioned a bit about min-maxing with Dragon Shadow and how it lets you manipulate your mobility stats so you actually invest less into it and still get maximum output. I like that the Sixth Coyote let me do something similar where I can actually invest less mobility and still get my dodges at a frequency that's comparable to the high mobility levels. Or you can actually just double down, and what I'm doing currently with my loadout is investing in high mobility with Sixth Coyote with a double dodge and just being able to use my dodge in every single scenario I want it, even repeatedly one after another, to make sure I get out of fights. And it's really strong. You're probably still wondering though, why wouldn't I choose Stompees over this exotic, especially with how strong they are for vertical play, especially for the console players with that lower FOV. For me to explain this choice, we have to fully understand the benefits of the Hunter Dodge. I think it's the strongest class ability in the game, and it's quite absurd. The Hunter Dodge, aside from being an evasive movement and animation that allows you to change your momentum and direction on the click of a button, also breaks all forms of tracking and aim assist for the duration of its animation. And no offense, I already see this coming. There's going to be some MNK players that perhaps think, oh well, aim assist is only on controller, so this doesn't affect me, so this exotic or this class ability is less useful. Well, that's incorrect. There's actually forms of aim assist on mouse and keyboard, so you are not exempt from this either. Weapons in Destiny have bullet magnetism. The bullets will track to the target within a certain radius of forgiveness and try and follow to the target or to the head. This counts for pretty much every weapon in Destiny, whether you're on mouse and keyboard or controller, and those values right now appear to be kind of generous. And it's actually my belief that the aim assist stat is just a modifier of the aim assist cone on a weapon, basically the area in which you can have your bullets be aim assisted if you're close enough within that area on the target. But anyways, that's cone stuff. Gonna get back on track here. My point is when a hunter dodges, you are actually breaking all forms of that bullet magnetism. The bullet will not track or try and hit the target. It will go exactly where you aim it. It will not recognize the target. A big reason why I like Sixth Coyote and stuck to it is because we're in a meta where snipers have bonkers amounts of aim assist. It is crazy. They are incredibly oppressive, and my solution to that issue in playing in this current sandbox is doubling down on the dodge. No pun intended, I know, double dodge, but really, I decided to use this, so whenever I see a red light, I don't even bother shooting. I just dodge. Usually they miss their shot, maybe hit a body shot, and then I get to continue playing instead of getting picked off, where I can try and maybe close the gap or put some real form of pressure that'll force them to switch their position up. However, as many of you guys could probably guess, this also does break reticle friction on controllers as well. So if you dodge, you are losing reticle friction, which means you're going to have a much harder time aiming at an evasive animation that does not have any sort of friction for your controllers. So for against controllers, it's pretty significant. And I'm surprised that this isn't more popular on console because of that. I get it. Stompees gets to basically exploit the fact that there's a lower FOV on consoles. Sure. But why not exploit the fact that everyone relies on friction to be able to aim well? And let's say someone is jumping over you with Stompees. You can actually dodge to give them a harder time hitting you, but at the same time slightly expanding your FOV to hopefully actually be able to keep track of them. And remember, I said all forms of tracking. This means anything trying to find a target, meaning an arc bolt cannot find you as a target if you dodge when the arc bolt's scanning. Same for an Axion dart. Same for a firebolt. Same for supers even. Ranged supers cannot find you. I'm pretty sure it even turns off the aim assist of Golden Gun. Skip grenades and Jotun lose their tracking. It's incredibly strong. The Hunter dodge says no and turns off way too many things in this game to ignore, and that's why I wanted even more of it. I want it for every single scenario possible to turn all of these things off whenever I like to stay alive longer, close the gap, disengage, whatever it might be. So for all these reasons and the strength of Hunter dodge and the fact that Sixth Coyote will give you 2 and have them more frequently, I see that as more valuable personally than Stompees. Do I think that this is definitively better than Stompees or Dragon Shadow? I don't think so, but that's my thought process as to why I like it better and see more value personally in it than those 2 exotics. It makes me think back to Destiny 1 when Night Stalker had 2 dodges for 1 charge. Yes, that is definitely more powerful than this, but with the fast cooldown with high mobility, you can get pretty close, and I think that double dodge has never lost its charm. I think it's always been good, and there's a reason why in Destiny 1 way back when it was so good. Lastly, you have to think that your dodge is used as a catalyst for a lot of abilities and actually as a utility sometimes. So having 2 of them allows you to use a dodge as a utility and an evasive maneuver, or maybe just both to utilize a utility more. On a basic level, if you're using the marksman's dodge, you can use one as a reload and still have another one as an evasive movement, or even one with the gambler's dodge to get your melee back and then another as a more evasive movement. Let's take it a step further though and look at some actual class utilities. What about Night Stalker? With its dodge camo, you can use one to actually start the camo, get a flank, and then one as an evasive movement, or just 2 to chain together to chain the camo for longer. Now let's take it even further with my main setup now. Bottom Tree Arcstrider gives you damage resistance, a pretty good amount of it on dodge, which again is already breaking all forms of tracking and aim assist, which is powerful for the reasons I mentioned. But when we take that and say we have damage resistance, and then we say we have 2 of them, It's pretty insane. I think it's ridiculous how much it keeps you alive in so many scenarios that you probably don't deserve to be alive in, I gotta be honest. As a shotgunner, I think about so many scenarios where I can play more aggressively because I know I can dodge out not once but twice, and I can be more evasive from target to target. It's honestly insane when you slide, shotgun, dodge out, slide, shotgun, dodge out repeatedly, and you keep chaining that because of a fast cooldown and because of the double dodge. I think it's really strong. Or again, even as a sniper, being able to slide out more often, go for crazy picks, and just dodge back into cover, it allows you to play more aggressively because you have more room for error, and that makes us incredibly strong. So yeah, those are my reasons of why I use the Sixth Coyote and why I think it's a movement exotic that hangs with the best, with Dragon Shadow, with Stompees, and I'm really surprised that more people aren't using this in this current meta. So give it a shot if you haven't already. Try it out. Tell me what you think in the comments. We're at the end of the video, so I'm gonna plug my Twitch. Twitch.tv/Drewskys is where you can find me streaming Destiny among other games. If you want to stop by, talk, have some questions, or have a good conversation, please do. I look forward to seeing you guys there. Anyways, thanks for watching the video, guys. See you in the next one. Take care.